One example is group manager Paul Lawler.
I feel like everybody was afraid to think outside of the box. Then you have Jay.
After his own recovery, Paul dedicated his life to helping others get sober.
You know, if I hadn't been introduced to alcohol, I would have been introduced to something else. I was drinking every night, I was going out, I was causing problems. Once you put that alcohol into your system, it's like you transform into a new person. You're fighting people, you're doing things that on a regular day-to-day basis you just wouldn't do.
Paul's addiction was a result of a childhood trauma.
I was molested as a child. I had several suicide attempts due to this. There was a lot of stuff as a male that was just hard to be okay with. When someone takes your manhood, you know, especially at a young age, you don't know how to recoup that. You don't, you know, you start blaming yourself, you start questioning yourself, and you wonder, what do I do? So at the time, the best thing to do as a child, growing up, I felt vulnerable and helpless. So I was drinking every night. At the time, the best thing to do was to numb. There was a lot of stuff as a male that was just hard to be okay with.
Throughout his life, Paul went to multiple treatment centers. The shame and guilt from his childhood trauma kept him from opening up.
Insecurities, the fear for asking help. You know, these are things as men are instilled in us that you figure it out. Real men don't cry. Real men don't ask for help. You do it. And it's false. My most freeing moment in my whole life was when I was 29 and I was in a treatment center. And this Marine was in group. I mean, like a man's man. And when he opened up about his story, for some reason that I don't know if you've ever had that feeling on your chest. It's like a 100-pound weight. Someone took it off. And after he shared his story, I was able to disclose, I'm hurting. And this is what I've been carrying around with me for 29 years. But I am a man, and I am strong. You know, and that's what this is all about.
When Paul joined the rebound team, he immediately saw how adventure therapy could help other addicts and himself stay clean.
Whether you're a teammate or staff, you've got all this great stuff building confidence. When they asked me to come on, I said, how can you say no to this?
One thing you're gonna get here is that you're gonna get some self-esteem.
Now remember, stay seated when we land, okay? If you're wearing me like a backpack.
With active addiction, people seek out the substance in order to feel more in control.
But when an addict gets sober, things change.
You're basically giving up the one coping skill that's ever worked for you. And now you've got to face life, and that is scary. You're building that confidence in yourself is extremely important.
When you jump out of a plane, your mind opens. Like there's something that happens that you realize that there's something bigger out there.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, get off the couch and join us. What are you doing?
And don't just come down and be like, I've completely let go for the first time.
And skydiving is just the beginning.
We wave run, we play baseball, we play basketball, we do hydroboarding, where we get on the hose and go 50 feet in the air.
Rebound has taken on a life of its own, but there was just one thing missing.
I definitely needed a clinical component, and the best clinical team I've ever seen was Futures.